Hello students, today we are starting a new chapter, that is chapter number 2, which is of reproduction units, and the name of the chapter is Sexual Reproduction in Flowering Plants. So before we start, first of all we have to understand what do you mean by the word sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction refers to the fusion of male and female gametes forming zygote that develops to form the new organism through embryogenesis. Now we have a new word, that is embryogenesis. So first of all understand it. Embryogenesis means it is a process of development of embryo from the zygote. So students, the gametes are formed by the same individuals in their sexual reproductions. What happened? The gametes are formed by the same individual or by the different or the opposite individuals. Okay. Now zygote, the how the embryogenesis will takes place, it's development of the embryo from the zygote. What is zygote then? Zygote is the vital link that ensures zygote is the ultimate result of the fusion of the male and female gamete. That is one cell embryo is known as a zygote. Okay, that one cell organism is formed is known as a zygote. It develops into the further embryo. When it divided into 2 or 3 cells, then it converts into the embryo. Okay. So as we are discussing here the flowering plants, first of all we have to know for the angiosperming plants, flowers are structures of sexual reproduction, as we all are aware about it. Hence it becomes the pertinent to know about the organization of the flower. So first of all we move towards the structure of the basic flower. We all know that the flower is a modified shoot. So here we have the diagram in which we will discuss first of all the structure of a flower. The floral axis through which the floral organ is called floral axis bearing the floral organs is called the receptacle. Okay, the outermost roll is calyx. The outermost roll, the colored form appeared is that is consisting of the sepals is known as a calyx, consisting of sepals, and inner to this a roll of corolla which is made up of the petals. Petals are the colorful things, for example the pink color and whatever the color appears known as the petals, and the sepals are that green color which appeared, it is known as the calyx also. Okay. Now, next to the corolla, toward the inner side of the androecium, which is made up of the stamens, and the gynoecium, which is made up of that your ovary and style stigma in the ovary. Now, the calyx and corolla combinedly formed as accessory roles, where the androecium and gynoecium, which are known as essential roles. Essential means what? Which is required. Accessory means which support. Because why the corolla is colorful, the reason behind that is because it attracts the micro insects towards it, so that the pollination becomes easy for them. Okay. Now next is the sepals and petals are not differentiated. If in any flower, if the sepals and petals are not differentiated, so the undifferentiated role is known as a new word is there, that is a perineth. Okay, and each member of the perineth, it's a new word again, it's known as the tepal. Each stamen has 2 parts. Now it's the diagram is very basic here. This diagram of the representation of the LS of a flower, it's a very basic diagram. We have you already studied in your 10th section it. So first of all, now we will move towards the further portions, that is the directly move towards the androecium part. We all know that the androecium part is that is of the stamen again. It's a male reproductive part, and that stamen is consist of 2 parts, a filament and an anther. Okay, a filament and a mostly bilobed anther at the tip of the filament. Clear? Such bilobed anthers are called diathecous. Each lobe contains 2 microsporangia or pollen sacs having a total of 4 microsporangia in an anther. First of all, look at here. Here it is in diagram of, it is a bilobed structure. So a stamen is it is a stamen and it consists of a filament. This is a filament portion, and this is, and at the top of it, it is the anther. Okay, the terminal end of the anther is a bilobe. You can see one lobe and second lobe. That's why it is known as a bilobed structure. Okay. Now it is diathecous, means 2 layers are there. That's why it is known as diathecous. Monothecous is also there in some organism, that is hibiscus are there, and diathecous brinjals are there. Okay. The proximal end of the filament is attached to the thalamus of the petal of the flower. Now the number and the length of the stamens vary. Okay. Now next is in that anther, what happened? Diathecus means anther is bilobed, each lobe having two theca. Two thecas are there. Okay, one second. Now students, look at here. Okay, now look at here. It's not working. Now, diathecus is there, anther is bilobed with each lobe having two theca are there. The longitudinal grooves run lengthwise separating the thecas. Here this region, okay, this region, this region is known as the thecal region. Okay, sorry, this region is known as the thecal region. It is a diathecus like this structure. Okay, now next is, okay, now diathecus is a bilobed nature. The anther is four-sided structure. Four microsporangia located at the corners, two in each lobe. You have seen this. It's four microsporangia. 1, 2, 3, 4. In one lobe, it's two microsporangia are there, and in total, four microsporangia are there. Okay. Now, the microsporangia develop pollen sacs that they extend longitudinally and are packed with the pollen grain. Structure of the microsporangium are as follows. It's a very important structure, so listen it very carefully. In the transverse section, okay, transverse section means when we have to cut anything like this. See, it's an organism and we are cutting this like this, simple in a slice potato chips like structures. Then each section is known as a transverse section. It's a typical microsporangium. We cut a particular bilobed structure of an anther in a transverse section. So what we obtain is a typical microsporangium, appears circular in outline. It is generally surrounded by four wall layers. Outer each microsporangium. So what's the microsporangia here? This structure, each microsporangia, this structure. When we magnify the image of the microsporangia, what will we find out? We will find out that it's generally composed of four wall layers, the epidermis, the endothecium, the middle one, and the tapetum. Now, the outer three wall layers perform the function of protection and help in the dehiscence of the anther to release the pollen. What's the outer three layers? That epidermis, endothecium, and the middle layer. The function of which function they perform? They perform the function to protection of and help in the dehiscence of the anther. Dehiscence means to when the pollens get matured, they emerges out or split out from that microsporangia portion. Okay. So the innermost wall layer, that is the tapetum, it nourishes. What's the function of the tapetum? It's a very important again. It nourishes, provide the nourishment to the developing pollen grains. Cell of the tapetum possess dense cytoplasm and generally have more than one nucleus. Nucleus divide without. Okay, the outer three walls layer perform the function as we talked about it earlier, perform the function of protection. The innermost wall layer is a tapetum. Basically, it contains a lot of cytoplasm which provide the nourishment to the pollen grains. And one more important thing is that it has more than one nucleus. So, nucleus divides without the cytoplasmic division, that is a polyploidy. We have to understand this term that without the without the cytoplasmic division, as such type of division will which is known as the we can say that which takes place in that plasmodium. That is a multiple fission, we can say that multiple fission type of division will take place, that is known as a polyploidy. Now look at this diagram. It's taken from the NCERT again, so we have to look at here. The outermost layer, okay, it's working or not. The outermost layer, it's known as the epidermis. Such tissues here which appear outermost. Epi means outer, dermis means the layer which cover the outer surface is known as the epidermis. Next is the endothecium. Inside, and thecium means the layer. Okay, then the middle layer is there, this layer and this layer. It is known because it occur in that middle of these and these things. That's why it is named as a middle layer without anything any importance of it. Okay, now inside of it is the microspore mother cells are there. Now each cell will act as a microspore mother cells. Okay, now the microspore mother cell, at outermost part of it, a layer is present which is known as a tapetum. Okay, the tapetum layer which provides the nourishment to that. When the microspore mother cells grow up, then they require the nutrition, and then these tapetum layer will provide the nutrition to them. Okay, now look at this diagram also. It's in detailed diagram. Now it also comes many time in the exam, so we will discuss it. Now in the middle of it, a column like structure is there. It is a connective tissue structure. Basically it's a connective tissue. It's a xylem phloem column type structure. Okay. Now next, in the outermost layer, the epidermis is there, endothecium is there, and the inside of it. So we are discussing about the microspore mother cells. They are basically the sporongenous tissues. Sporongenous tissues, they are the primary sporongenous tissues. Okay. After some time, these sporongenous tissue divide further, forming the these primary sporongenous tissues are there, then divided to form that the mature sporongenous tissues, and these sporongenous tissue will act as a microspore mother cell. Okay. Now, what happens when the anther is young? It's not matured when it's young. A group of compactly arranged homogeneous cell, as I talked you earlier, homogeneous cell, the sporongenous tissue occupy the center of each microsporangium. Okay, when anther is in the young stage, the sporongenous tissues are there. It's present in the middle of that. We are seen here. It is present like this in the middle of it. It is known as sporongenous tissues. Okay. Now, cell of the sporongenous tissue undergo the meiotic divisions to form the microspore tetrads. Okay. Each sporongenous tissue will undergo the meiotic division to form such type of tetrads. Basically, these sporongenous tissues are the microspore mother cells. They form the pollen grains. In how many pollen grains they form? 4 pollen grains. Each cell form 4 pollen grains. That's why it is known as the tetrad. Okay, tetrad means 4. Now next is, look at this diagram also. Here I am discussing the connected tissues are written earlier in this region. It's basically containing the vascular bundles. Okay, they are providing the whatever the xylem is providing that water supply, and phloem will providing the food. Now the pollen sacs are there. These the which we discussed, microsporangium. Now the epidermis, fibrous layer, tapetum, pollen. Okay. Now pollen mother cell. Look at here. Pollen mother cell, which is in the which condition? Diploid conditions. Okay. So that diploid condition, because we know that whenever the gametes are formed, they are the haploid. So meiosis will take place here. So they form the haploid. Okay. Now the tetrad is formed, and that ultimately the pollen grains are formed like this. Now it's one more diagram is there. What see that vascular strand is here. See, this vascular strand is here. Now here important thing is that one more thing, it's an cleavage like structure is that is known as a stomium. Okay. Now the cells are present here, which is a sporongenous, which is also act as a microspore mother cells are present here. When the anther develop, when each sporongenous tissue, remember it, each sporongenous tissue or each microspore mother cell form 4 pollen grains or tetrad, okay, tetrad pollens. Then what happen? These stomium layer break down. The breakdown of the stomium layer will take place, and the pollen grain get emitted out, or dehiscence will take place. Okay. Now we are aware of this thing that pollen grain are in tetrad structure, so they are arranged in such type of ball like structure, 1 2 3 4. Okay, the bundle of 4 balls. So PMC means it's a primary. Okay, the PMC is the primary mother cells are there, and microsporanginesis is the process of the formation of the microsporangium cells into the microspore. Microspore, here I am talking about the pollens. Now the structure of the pollen grain, when we observe it under the microscope, the pollen grains look like these different type of structures we observe. Okay, the pollen grain represents basically what? It's a gamete. It represents the gametophytes. Male, which gametophyte? It's a male gametophyte. It varies in size, shapes, color, design, different species. Fossils, because of the presence of sporulin. Okay, now what happened? Many times it get it preserved in the form of the fossils also, because of the chemical which is present in it, that is a sporopollenin. It is present in the outermost layer of the exine. Now cryopreservation is a technique which we are used to for the crop breeding purposes. In that condition, basically the sample, example pollens are there, we have to store it in under the minus 190 degrees Celsius temperature in the liquid nitrogen, so that it get preserved for the long time. Okay, in such type of processes in cryopreservation, what happened, which basically we are stopping down their metabolic activity. So in which stage they are, in which cell divisions either happening out there or not happening out there, they get just stopped at that condition only. Okay. Now, pollen food nutrition values is that some of the athletes are taking this pollen as in form of a nutrition substances also. Some people have an allergy from the pollens also. They have then bronchial infections, bronchitis is also, asthma problems are there. Viability means the development. Is it possible? Viable means if the pollen grain get germinate, it germinate or not. That is a viability. So depends upon the temperature and the humidity, and viable from few minutes to several months. Matlab it's have the condition to develop into a young plant or not. That is known as a viability. Okay. Few minutes to few months. For example, that Solanaceae, Rosaraceae and the Leguminosae family are there. Now look at here the structure, the pollen grain wall. The two walls are there. Outermost is the exine, inner is the intine. Exine is a thick, hard ornamental. It is made up of a very thick substances that is known as the sporopollenin. A very famous story about the sporopollenin is that it is resistant or is a resistant organic material. It resistant for the high temperature, resistant for the acid, is resistant for the alkalis. That is why they are stored as in many times if they form the fossils also. Now, intine layer is there. It is at the below the exine, the intine layer is there. Now, at some places the intine layer doesn't cover whole of the pollen surfaces. Some areas it doesn't have that intine layer. It's because the pollen tubes have to germinate. The germ pore is there, which is known as the germ pore. Germ pore is a circular aperture in the exine where the sporulin is absent, and from which this region the pollen tubes get emerge out at the time of the germination. Okay, the inner wall of the pollen grain intine, a thin and a continuous layer and made up of a cellulose and the pectin. Okay. Now, the cytoplasm of pollen grain is surrounded by a plasma membrane. Mature pollen grain inside intine and exine during development from microspore mitosis 2 cells. Okay, now listen here. The cytoplasm of pollen grain. What that cytoplasm? It is a pollen of the pollen grain. It's an outer layer is a plasma membrane, and then each mature pollen grain contains two type of layer, that is intine and an exine layer. And during the development from microspore mitosis, two cells are formed. During development from the microspore mitosis, two cells are formed. That is, one is a vegetative, other is a generative cell. Vegetative cells, which is also known as a tube cell, which is bigger, has abundant food reserve, and a large irregularly shaped nucleus is present in them. Second is a generative cell, small spindle shaped nucleus which contains a cytoplasm. Okay, 60% of the angiosperm pollen grains have only two cell stage in them. Okay. Now, in other generative cell divides mitotically the two male gametes before pollen grains are shed. That is why it is known as three cell stage also. Now, stages of the microspore maturing into a pollen grain. So, how that pollen grains will mature? Whenever the pollen grains come in contact with the stigma and its a compatibility with the stigma is there. Now, at that time the pollen get germinate. So, the exine and intine two layers are there. What happen? The nucleus get divided. This single nucleus is present here. It get divided into two nucleus. One becomes a generative, other becomes a vegetative. Okay, this become vegetative, this becomes generative. Clear? This is generative, this is vegetative. Okay, now what happened? The generative nucleus is here. Generative the tube nucleus, which is also known as the vegetative nucleus, is formed the tube. So this tube is formed by which nucleus? It is formed by this tube nucleus. Okay, now generative nucleus is there. Generative nucleus is getting passed from this tube nucleus to the ovule portion. Okay, now see here, the pollen tube get extended like this, and the male and inside it the generative nucleus get divided into two cells in between of it, which is known as the male cells, like this. Okay. Okay, with this we have finished with the male reproductive system, or we can say that the androecium part of the flowering plants.